Hey, y'all. It's Juanita Coley, the founder of Solid Rock Consulting, where we help call centers implement technology, optimize the technology that they currently have in place, and build better workforce management teams. I want to welcome you to Call Center Chronicles. Call Center Chronicles is a place for CEOs, call center professionals, tech leaders, and yes, the customer looking to have fun yet thought provoking conversations around how we improve customer experiences and companies' bottom line. We are on a mission to normalize women in tech and workforce management leadership roles, and we believe that that starts with conversation. Welcome to Call Center Chronicles. Hey, guys, and welcome to another episode of Call Center Chronicles. I am Juanita Coley, affectionately known as the Contact Center Whisperer. You guys already know I'm super excited about this episode. I'm excited about all the episodes, but I'm super excited about this episode because I am interviewing John Finch, the SVP over at DialPad, and we're going to be talking about some amazing things today. So grab your popcorn or whatever you're allowed to eat on your diet, okay? For me, it's popcorn. You guys know I love popcorn. So grab your popcorn and tune in for this amazing show. John, thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm super excited about your episode.
Super honored, and thank you for having me here. Looking forward to our conversation today.
You gonna give me all the scoop and the deets on what's going on over at DialPad?
Yeah, I absolutely will. Yeah, I think we have a lot to talk about. Lots of great things going on. Lots of changes in the industry. Lots of great technology innovation. So I'm super stoked to talk.
So I got some prelim information, but I'm not gonna do a spoiler alert just yet. Okay. I'm not gonna do it just yet. Before we hop in, John, I already told the people that you're the SVP, but tell us a little bit more about your role over at DialPad, what it looks like on a day-to-day, and how did you get into the contact center space and specifically over at DialPad?
Yeah, it's a long journey, Juanita. As many of us have found ourselves in this space, it's almost like, that sweet chocolate that you could never not have more bites of, right? I think at the end of the day, I found myself in this industry. I started out at Genesis a long time ago in the contact center space, and it was something that sort of gripped me, and I've been a part of it ever since. I've had a journey through the cloud infrastructure shift and sort of really found myself enjoying what it was, probably very similar to you in the facet that all of us on an everyday basis have to deal with customer service
Yep.
issues, challenges, and problems. And so it was reality. And it was the first time in telecommunications technology, which I've been in most of my career, that I could talk about the end user consumer and really how businesses can solve the problem.
Yeah.
And so I found myself here at DialPad. She's back in 2015. So I was here for quite some time.
Oh, wow.
I had a little bit of a journey for the last couple of years at a couple of different companies, including Zendesk, and now have come back to DialPad as we've gone through another wave of innovation. And really through our conversation today, we'll talk about this. We really are doubling down on customer service in the contact center, right? And really leveraging artificial intelligence and taking what is the contact center and bringing that forward in our narrative and how we're solving problems for businesses as a core element. So it's super exciting, sort of where that journey has led me and to where we are today, and working for, such an amazing company as DialPad, who's really on the forefront of innovation, especially with AI in the contact center.
I absolutely love it. So I just released, or you may not know, but I just released my second book, my sophomore book, Ground Up: Navigating a Non-Traditional Tech Career. So I'm always interested when people are in the contact center space, what their journey was, so they kind of hear your journey. Also, I think what's super intriguing is that you left Alpad and you came back. Now, I think that is something to be said. When you leave a company and you come back, that means it's something good going on. So tell me, what was it that made you come back and be like, y'all are doing something super cool over here? What was that thing or things?
It's, it's innovation,
Mm,
really. It really is. It's on the forefront, and I've had the exposure to other technologies in these last few years as I've explored, and really seeing what this innovation is key. And I think I've had conversations with folks in the industry over periods of time where we think about what is it that can be invented more to solve problems for customers. And it's ever evolving. And I think where we are today is, a very different world than we were 3 years ago, right? And the challenges that we have of being able to work in a hybrid environment, the way that businesses function and run just at the forefront of business itself has changed and is different. And the need to keep customers, to sell to customers, and to run your business, like recruit great talent, right? As an example, are all things at the forefront of what technology in the contact center and artificial intelligence can really do. And so DialPad has that. And, this team, I know this team, I know what they can do. These the core folks, the founders of this organization were the ones that brought Google Voice to light
Yes.
and into the market. So it's a solid opportunity for anyone that's, working at the company, anybody that's using the technology to really differentiate themselves in the market and really have, a nice experience. And so that's why I came back. And it really has been. I've been back a year already, which is hard to believe, to be honest.
Man, so good. So I know, and I know that the founders of DialPad were the ones that did that brought Google Voice to life, right?
Yep.
So, which
Yep.
I think is what makes it super dope, right? If I may say so
Yeah.
myself, I think it makes it super cool that it's now when we're talking about DialPad AI, which is what we're going to get in and start talking about today, how that change, how their experience kind of created that trajectory for DialPad AI and what all
Yeah.
that is as what it is today, a DialPad AI. So tell me more about DialPad AI and what do you think, how do you think their experiences cultivated this product that we have today?
Well, there were a number of different things that occurred through the journey, right? So 5 years ago, there was an acquisition of a company called TalkIQ, and TalkIQ came into the DialPad fold and ultimately became the foundation of the voice technology. And because both DialPad and TalkIQ were organizations that were built on Google Cloud Platform and a microservices architecture, not to get too technology focused, but it made the bringing of that technology at the core, meeting the natural language processing, the AI intelligence that goes into the solid
Mm-hmm.
piece of everything that is DialPad, very easy to do. So bringing those technologies together then became the core of the platform, the core of the foundation, and enabled DialPad to continue just to innovate on top of that. So what's happened since that initial acquisition of TalkIQ has been really leaning in on contact center functionality. So there was always the voice level functionality that kind of comes along with just plain old telephone service that or voice over IP that was part of the cloud-based PBX at the
Mm-hmm.
forefront of DialPad. But then there were two other acquisitions for contact center. One of them was called Care, and the other one's called Cupid. And those were both done about a year ago. Those organizations lean in on digital customer service. Think of web uh, virtual assisted self-service, chatbots, social media channels, name your favorite one from WhatsApp to Facebook to Apple Business Chat, and all the tools in between. Now, everything inside the platform is providing artificial intelligence on top of that. And so the AI elements that we've launched this year, as you know about, are things like AI CSAT. So getting customer satisfaction in an organization usually takes a bunch of surveys and responses from customers so you can actually take and calculate what your customer satisfaction is overall. But what we're doing with our AI is we're actually inferring customer satisfaction for every single interaction that happens between an agent and a customer, which is unprecedented. It allows every business to know in real time what's going on in that call and how that call ended and infer that customer satisfaction rating so that the improvements can be made in the business. Coaching can happen for every single agent by supervisors, training and education, etc. And that's just one element, right? There's a number of other ones we can talk about today, but I think that that's a great example where it's difficult for any organization to really take all of these different interactions,
Yeah.
calculate that information, and bring it to the forefront to solve it if it's a problem.
And I think like, so I think you got to step down on this one, right? Think about that. My mind is always just like, think
Yeah.
about that for a second. To be able to listen and predict all of these interactions and then be able to say, okay, based on this, this is what we then need to do. This is how we need to change our product, or this is how we need to change or support our agents better. Or imagine how that changes the level of support that you're able to give. Imagine how that changes just even product, that if you're an organization that's maybe in e-commerce or you're whatever it
Right.
is that you're in, and you're listening to mass amounts of interactions day over day over day, or like that's just massive stuff. That's big stuff. What do you
It is.
my brain, John.
It is. It's sort of it's a you explode when you think about it, right? Because
Yes, I
you think
do.
about yeah, you think about the challenges like that. Does contact center agents actually have in understanding if they're doing a good job, right? And you think about those supervisors, as you mentioned, if they have, a lot of people they're responsible for and trying to coach, you're paying attention to only the ones that you're hearing aren't doing a great job or not happy with their job or whatever it is, right? And then in that time, then you're having to listen to calls or, listen to recordings or listen in on the live calls and do some real-time coaching. This goes beyond because the information becomes a list for the supervisor. They can look at it and rather than listening to the whole call, which you can think of this visually, you'll be able to have sort of a tape recorder sort of dashboard in front of you with words, sentiment and analysis of that call that come out.
I
So
was
if
just
you
going to say
see
sentiment.
things, yeah, if you see things and it's red and then the CSAT score is low, you're probably going to listen to it. You'll see that it pops out because all the words are in there that you're looking for dissatisfaction or, explicit language or whatever it might be. And then you can kind of come back and do the coaching and rather than going through thousands of recordings. So it really saves time.
Tell me, John, how scalable is DialPad AI? Like when we're thinking about startups or small businesses, SMB market, all the way to enterprise, how easy is this to implement DialPad AI so that small businesses can leverage it the same way that enterprises would be leveraging it to scale their business?
Yeah, I mean, the technology is democratized and it's accessible and usable for everybody. And that's what's so amazing about it. A lot of what you get from a technology perspective is too out of reach for a lot of smaller businesses and maybe not enough of what a larger enterprise would need in terms of reliability, security elements and other
Compliance, yeah.
compliance things. Yeah, exactly. And we've got it all. So, with the case of most SaaS businesses when they come out of the gate, remember DialPad was founded in 2012, being able to successfully work for a smaller organization was sort of the onset of the business. But even as far back as 2013, 14, we were winning organizations like Motorola for their entire business communications infrastructure replacement. So we have large businesses, we have a lot of small businesses, and it works across the board. It allows organizations of any size to really scale their operations and provide a seamless customer experience and even seem like they're a larger business maybe than they really are. So a smaller organization that has only a couple of different agents can have a very functional contact center and service organization from a digital as well as a voice perspective for escalations, for example, or tech support that will enable them to service multiple customers very, very efficiently without having to hire giant staffs or even outsource contact center technologies to offshore, et cetera. So it really does provide an overarching solution across any size business. And we have a lot of programs for startups. We have a whole startup program. We have a small business program. So, very interesting and obviously very geared towards the enterprise. So obviously we have, some great opportunities to work with any size business and help them grow as they need.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, in my personal opinion, that really makes DialPad so very unique is that it can do both. It can enterprise level go really high, and you're being leveraged in, enterprise organizations, and then you can do startup and small business. You're
Yeah,
not going to see every CCAS player and contact center player able to do that. And
right.
what I think makes it super unique is that that is how you truly change customer experience. That's how you truly change and impact employee experience, because these organizations that are starting off small and scaling right to these massive organizations, if you don't impact customer experience at and make it a part of culture at the very beginning, then you have a
Mhm.
culture problem when you're a big, massive organization. And
Right.
so I think that is really at the core of what's happening when we're talking at these enterprise levels about employee experience and customer experience. They're trying to tackle this problem, but then they don't have the infrastructure in place, because what they started with is not where they're going to end, and that's not necessarily always the case. You that's why you have digital transformation. You're going to change solutions as you grow. But I think
Yeah.
that's what really makes DialPad so unique, in my opinion, is that you can scale. You can offer the same thing to SMB and scale all the way out to enterprise. That's
Yeah.
amazing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It is, and it really, it's because the technology was thought of to be able to handle that from the onset, right? And the pieces that we keep adding to this, as we continue to innovate, only helps democratize further. I mean, look at artificial intelligence just as an example. That's out of touch for most small businesses, right?
Yes.
It's very complex. You have multiple vendors and because it's an innate part of the product, it's there. You turn it on, you're solving a problem because you need a contact center, right? So you turn that on with DialPad, and guess what? The AI pieces that you would like to have that a large organization typically can go and buy from someone else who is an expert in AI, and you can front the costs of that to differentiate your business. Small organizations can't. You just turn that on and you use it. Small businesses got it too. Guess what? They're competing with the large business now.
Yes. Like in this, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, every time I show a SMB dial pad, or I'm talking about like, hey, look, you can do this transcription or this, they're like, what? Like their mind is so blown. And I'm like, yeah, this is big time stuff. This is what the big time people are using, like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's super fun conversation to have. So when we talk about customer experience and employee experience, part of the AI is that natural language processing and
Yeah.
the ability to be able to then now aid a employee in the conversation and tell them what the next best action or course of action would be on that interaction. Tell me more about that, and how is that baked in and thought of in the
Yeah.
solution?
It's another great innovation, right? Again, it goes back to sort of being able to work remotely. So imagine you're an agent, you started working for a company and you're working remotely. You've been trained, but you don't have access to all the information, nor do you have either one of your friends sitting on either side of you.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're able to actually get into an engagement with a customer, right? Either voice in real time or through a digital interaction. And rather than there being any sort of delay by you searching for an answer or going to a help center or a knowledge base, that information just comes to you inside of the agent desktop in real time because the artificial intelligence is listening in. It's pulling that information directly from the business's knowledge base. Name your favorite one or a homegrown one. We take that information from any of those sources, and then it's propagated during that actual interaction so that the agent can effectively answer the question, so that one click and you're done sort of interaction actually occurs and you've solved the customer's problem in one interaction.
Now, is it continually learning? Like, so what does the implementation look like of something like this? Like, is the business saying, hey, let me front load all of this knowledge, and then it's continually learning based on the interactions that it's listening? Like, tell me how this works. Like, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, no, it's not very complex, to be honest with you. The technology comes from one of these acquisitions that I mentioned earlier, and it actually is going in and crawling through all the information that's in the database. So one that's out in the market that I know very well is Zendesk's knowledge base, right? It comes with their product portfolio. A lot of businesses that use Zendesk have that knowledge base. And so all the information that's necessary from driving their help center or their communities or whatever agents and internal employees are using to store information on, it will basically go through and crawl all that information.
Mm.
And then the NLP and sort of the database of all that information from a DialPad perspective, we're constantly taking these interactions and listening in and building that library, right? So that information is brought together. We're currently at like 3.4 billion minutes right now and growing. So every interaction that we take in across all of our portfolio, not just contact center, but every video meeting that's happening, every voice call that's happening across all of our businesses, there's 32,000 companies that we do business with today. All that information is taken into effect and then utilized and leveraged for our AI to be able to go in, hook up to a knowledge base like that through an API, and be able to gather that information and house that information in moments. And so it's not like something you have to implement. It takes days to learn. You're starting from scratch. It's readily available within a very, very short period of time, within a day of getting the information out of your database and making sure that it's getting the interactions in the right format so that I can serve it up to the agents or whomever in the enterprise that needs that information.
But it does need to be in my database, right?
It's an integration through an API,
Uh-huh.
right? And so it's going to your data. Yes, so your database. So if you have, there's a lot of organizations out there. I mean, Salesforce has one. There's a lot of knowledge bases, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be able to integrate with any of them, and we do. So today we use Zendesk at DialPad, and we obviously, for our customer service, use our own technology. And this is something we've employed and integrated with. Same thing with a company called HighSpot, which is basically a sales toolkit that allows sales people and others inside the organization to gain information on sales tools and how to sell and where presentations are. So it crawls through all that information. Our salespeople, through their selling, actually have this technology, and it will propagate that information during a sales call for them based on what's in HighSpot. So it's all these databases that have these integrations, and we can do that integration during the implementation phase for the customer, for any customer.
And I've shown this to a customer, and I know a couple customers that are actually leveraging it today. And um, one organization that is leveraging this that I was showing, they started, this was a SMB medium sized business. They had two business sectors, right? So BUs, they had two business units, and they decided to separate those organizations completely, right? So it was like, hey, this going to break off and be their own company.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was they shared one TFN because it used to be one business. Well, when the business made a decision to separate into two separate companies, now you have this other company that's floating over here that has a new TFN, but the prior customers are calling into the old number, and new employees that have now just been onboarded have no idea about the other company. So they will be turning customers away like, no, you have the wrong company. This is not da 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 da. So the company decided to say, hey, let me leverage your just-in-time learning is what I like to call it, but leverage the AI
Mm-hmm.
so that when they heard the customer say X, Y, and Z, it popped up
Yep.
for the customer, I mean, for the agent, hey, this is this customer, or this is this company, it's our sister company, da 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 da. And I'm telling you, this company was so blown away to be able to use that from DialPad that they are like, this fundamentally changes how we have to onboard people, because they were spending a lot of time in training, having to go back. They were losing customers because new hires were saying, "Oh no, they have the wrong company." So that's super sleek stuff.
It is. It's a game changer. I mean, I think about myself as a young salesperson back in the day, and the things I didn't know when I was selling a complex, software technology. that I could have done with a solution like this, I mean, wow, it's a game changer. I mean, any sales organization can leverage this, and the same thing, the example you just talked about. Obviously, any customer service organization, it's unbelievable. I mean, the training time becomes a lot less. The
Yeah.
burden for a supervisor or a manager becomes a lot less. And then let's talk about, like, geez, gaining information on how your business is running,
Yes.
and bringing that to the forefront, right? Which is a big thing that we announced on Tuesday, which is our sort of new message around AI customer intelligence platform. And so bringing customer service to the forefront of who DialPad is, to be leveraging our artificial intelligence at the forefront for any individual inside the organization to be able to glean information about how customer service is impacting their business, how well they're selling products and servicing customers that currently exist, as well as recruiting or other pieces of the organization that are paramount for the business success. Business's success is really where the DialPad AI customer intelligence platform is providing the value. And so it's a game changer, we think. And it really then says, hey, look, customer service and contact centers at the forefront of the technology. And every organization within the company now can take this data and information and leverage it across the board. It's pretty amazing.
It is amazing. Just the mere fact that you just said, right? Putting customer service at the forefront, right? And spreading that across the organization, across HR, across marketing, across all these different departments and saying, "Hey, this is how customer service, the face of our business, right? The one that interacts with consumers. I want to make sure I'm putting a pin on that, right? This is how this impacts the rest of our business." Really calls for the rest of the business to kind of line up and say, yeah, we got to focus on customer service and not from a we want to sell more product or sell more services. That's a byproduct of it, but because we owe it to our customer to actually service them if we sold them
Yeah.
something. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
right. And
that's
you want them to come back and buy more, right? And to be happy and talk about you. I mean, it's
create
fundamental.
advocates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
advocates. Yeah, it's fundamental to the success of your business, like we talked about. We all have these experiences, right? And being able to capture the right people to make them all happy and differentiate your brand. I mean, I use this phrase, and you can feel free to steal it. I'm on a mission, as I mentioned in my journey. I'm on a mission to make every business a customer-centric organization,
I love it.
and it's really something that it's it's realistic, it's obvious, and it's actually kind of exciting, right?
Yes. Yes, like, and it's and I love the point that you say it's obvious because it really is. It is a basic thing. Like, if I sell you something, I want you to be happy about it. I want you to get use out of it. I want you to, I want to service you. And to serve is a lost art. I don't think people really understand the servitude or the heart of a servant. And
Right.
so service is looked at, as a lowly place, and we got to make customer service
Oh yeah.
great again, right? Like, make it an amazing
So good.
thing. So
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I
I agree.
love that. So
Yeah.
okay, I know we're at the bottom of our time, and I can talk to you all day, John. Tell me if what don't I know, right? Tell me. We can keep it between us, right?
There's a lot more coming,
Yeah,
Juanita.
tell me
This
what's
is what
coming.
this is what's exciting. I mean, I think you and I can have these conversations for years now, which I would love to do. I think that where we're going is going to continually evolve, right? I mean, as we lean into what is this AI powered customer intelligence platform, it really is about innovation on AI. We're going to continue to do the innovation that we're doing from a contact center perspective or a call center perspective. So both just the voice or the omni channel or just the digital, but we're also going to continue to feather in innovation across AI. So think of some of the things that are also difficult in the organization to ascertain today, which is net promoter score, right? Again, that's getting feedback from customers, and if they don't, do that smiley face or sad face, you're not really getting that, right? So how do we infer that, just like we
Yeah.
do AI CSAT? Other things we're doing is churn prediction, right? So think of a sales organization, or renewals, or other things that are going on inside the company to make sure that you're keeping customers happy, and having a continued successful sales effort. So churn prediction is another key indicator across a business that we're going to be coming out with, just to name a couple. But the continual component across what you said, which is exactly spot on, is like, how do you help internal employees or the workers um, gain access to information that might have to do with HR, right, inside the organization? So how can you get to that information? How can you help an individual, line of business like HR be better at their jobs? And this technology can do that as well. So we're starting to think about what it means for other buyers or other champions within the organization, that we can start to help with this overall, platform that we're providing in the marketplace.
And I hate to loop back around to this, but it makes me so excited to think that HR can't, well, I don't hate to loop back around to it because I love it, but to think about HR being able to see the insights in data around customer service so that they are recruiting better
Yes.
people to serve the customer better. They understand what the customer is asking for. They understand sentiment. They understand, and that it's even a thought in their mind when they are like, do you know how massively impactful that is? Right. It
Right.
reminds me of that Discover. I think it's a Discover commercial where the customer is kind of angry and grumpy, and so the customer rep that they get is matches their, like, they're like kind of angry and grumpy, but it doesn't rub the customer the wrong way because they match. Like they are able to speak the same language. And then you get somebody who's really, the customer is really high strung and they're really excited and jovial. And then they get a customer service rep that's really high strung, jovial and all those different things. It's a super funny commercial. See if
Yeah,
you
I
can find
remember
it or
that
something
one.
like that. But that's what it makes me think of. If customer service is expanding across the entire organization, HR, marketing, imagine how we're thinking about how we service customer, how we impact employees and empower employees. Okay, I'm done. Soapbox is done. Soapbox is done. But so I'm super excited to see
Yeah.
what's next. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate it.
It was so amazing. We got to have you back on the show. I literally could talk to you all day about this stuff for real. But hang out with me in the green room and I'm going to wrap the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. As you can tell, I'm excited about this. As soon as John said it can span the business, I was already in on the AI piece because I've seen it in work in organizations. But when he said, "Oh, now HR can see how how it's impacting customer service, or how customer service is impacting the business, or marketing will be able to see how customer service is impacting the business," that changes the servitude of an organization. And if you can change the way your employees are empowered and engaged in the business to really have a heart of a servant, do not customer service out there. Like, that's a byproduct. That's just a given. Anyway, I'm excited, as you guys already know. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this episode of Call Center Chronicles. I'll see you guys back soon. Talk to you guys later. Bye.